Hi guys, I've said before, don't listen to politicians, but instead listen to the experts. And while he isn't a clairvoyant, he is a scientist. So John Curtice is of the belief that while who wins the election is not in doubt, how many seats the Tories end up with is a bit difficult to predict. So on Friday we will see the Tories with anything between 50 and 150 MPs. So why is it such a huge range? Well, Sir John Curtice explains.
As between 50 and 150, does that seem to you to be in your water, as it were, to be the most likely realistic range?
Yeah, I mean, this is the range within which is undoubtedly most likely to fall, unless the polls are really significantly overestimating Labour's lead over the Conservatives. I think certainly, given history, we wouldn't be entirely surprised if there was a bit of an exaggeration of the lead. But so long as that's no more of the order of 2, 3, 4 points, then something in that range seems at least possible, though if the polls are somewhat wrong, then maybe towards the upper end of that range.
Right, so but even at the top end of that range, that would still amount to an absolutely crushing defeat. Now, as for the Prime Minister saying 130,000 votes in marginal seats could have a huge effect on the outcome in Parliament, there's truth in that, isn't there?
Yeah, sure.
But that doesn't mean we're watching a close fight, curiously.
No, well, the reason why that's the case is that if indeed we are right in anticipating that the Conservative vote is going to fall most heavily in places where they are previously strongest, that will in effect mean that we have many more seats that are marginal between Conservative and Labour, and indeed between Conservative and Democrats, than would otherwise be the case. Again, that's one of the messages of those big mega polls, that an awful lot of constituencies could end up on one side or the other of the line as a result of relatively small shifts in the votes, which again is yet another reason for the uncertainty. You know, the uncertainty doesn't seem to be about the winner. The uncertainty is about what happens in terms of parliamentary representation.
Yes.
And, you know, given the vagaries of the single member party system, it requires an accurate estimate of what's going to happen in 632 entirely separate contests.
Yes.
And with the best will of the world and the best scientists in the world, that is a very, very difficult task.
It is a very difficult task. Now, I want to get back to the point of the number of seats the Conservatives could end up with. There are no safe seats for the Tories at the moment. You know, even Rishi Sunak was campaigning hard in his own constituency and what was seen as traditional, safe Conservative constituencies. And as was pointed out here, a small swing in a large number of constituencies could push the Tories into a position where they end up losing a massive number of seats. You know, we're talking about a small swing, even in hundreds of votes. We've seen it in by-elections where by-elections were won and lost on the grounds of just a few hundred votes. Now, when it comes to the number of seats, what could happen here? Well, the Conservatives could end up with 50, which is a best case scenario, of course, or 150. Now, when it comes to 150, I think we'll see the Conservatives going away, licking their wounds for the next number of years. But either way, 50 or 150, I think Nigel Farage is going to loom large if he wins his seat in Clacton. I think there will be an appetite to bring him on board because the Conservatives, as I said before, will blame Rishi Sunak and moderates for the failure. They won't look inward. They won't say, actually, was it a good idea to go down the road of immigration, trying to attack immigration or culture wars and stuff like that? You know, maybe we should have focused on the cost of living. No, that will not be the argument. The argument will be Rishi Sunak was too centrist, too to the left, too socialist, as some Tories would say, and that's the reason why the Conservatives lost. Now, the best case scenario, of course, is that the Conservatives end up with just 50 seats, even less than that, and the Liberal Democrats become the official party of opposition. And instead of the Conservatives being in charge in opposition, they become a footnote. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.